forget to subscribe. Come on.
Don't go 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Some of our backup girls having a great time as we kick the season off in 2021 down here in Holt, Florida. And don't forget to subscribe as you'll be notified of everything we got coming your way. First round here, Emerald Coast Dragway Superstock. Robert Peffley in that big Belvedere wagon and Ben Rivers in the Snake Doctor. And Ben Rivers stumbling on the line, and that's all Robert Peffley needed as he took that victory there, round one. Chris Austin in that Impala right here in the right lane, owned by Rick Varner. He puts Mike Koger on the trailer early at the second pair down in Superstock. Another Rick Varner car. That's Tyler York in the Grumpy over in the left lane. He's got Rick Cathcart to take on, and Rick Cathcart with a great lead right there in that Falcon. Something happening to Tyler York, putting him on the trailer. And there is the man behind all three of these cars, Rick Varner. Annapolis, North Carolina. He's going to take on Kyle Bowenkemper in the Bisquick, that 66 Biscayne 4-door. And boy, look at that big car of Varner's get down the racetrack with that big Chevrolet horsepower underneath the hood there. Johnny Royals in the Breeze, going to be taking on Dale Morton in that 57 Ford, the Lucille in the right lane. Morton out of Dallas, North Carolina. Griffin, Georgia, where Johnny Royals is calling home, and Dale Morton moves on to round number 2 here in first round action. There's the 76-year-old Ron Allison in a beautiful super stock car right there. He is going to be over in the left-hand lane, Mitch, and some trouble, it looks like, in the right-hand side right there. You see the hood go up.
Yep, getting a buy run on the first round. That's always a good gimme, David. And look at that wheels that launch, a rather older statesman, and buddy, he's enjoying that clutch and force speed.
And a beautiful race car again as we see that now moves to our 2020 World Champion. That is Mark Hackett right there out of Lebanon, Tennessee in that 65 Mercury.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Last year's champion with domination, 2021. Buddy, you placed checkmate on that. #1 qualifier and resetting the record.
Well, you know, we worked hard all winter to come out and try to run strong, but we never thought it would be like this, you know. So we are truly blessed, and it's been a fantastic weekend so far. We got a couple more rounds to run, but so far, I mean, everything's gone really well, and couldn't ask for it to be any better.
So the car's making constant, consistent runs. So for everything, for all aspects, mechanically, you're good. As long as from a driving standpoint, you can repeat, don't do nothing stupid, we should be talking to you later today.
I hope so, yeah. As long as I don't go blank and do something crazy, yeah, we should be okay. Yeah.
Well, I've always said if a driver will do the same thing, the car normally will. So, Sud, we will look for you later today.
Thank you, Mitch. Appreciate it.
And that Mercury Poison right there going to be the recipient of a buy run by being the #1 qualifier here today. And again, like Mitch said, setting the new Superstock record for ET. And we're going to move right again into C-Gas. This time it's going to be presented by Molly Motorsports. There is the Stud Muffin driven by Larry Floyd, owned by Leslie Horn here out of Bowling Springs, South Carolina. Got that Gene Fort horsepower in that 62 wagon. He's our #1 qualifier, and he is elected to go first here today and get that car down the racetrack. Moving along very well.
You know, David Leslie had 2 cars #1 qualifier today. That was that car in C-Gas, his old championship ride, and his A-Gas 55. Josh Pruitt comes on the line in Youngblood. Good thing for him that George Miller, last year's champion, was unable to make the call given the competition single because he obviously wasn't going nowhere on that one, David.
Yeah, and then next up, see Bill Wilson right here, and Ernie Smith with some new paint on his car. Bill Wilson making the change over to that Gene Fulton horsepower.
Ernie killing him on the start line. That was not a red light, David, but Bill Wilson, major power come around.
Yeah, that was a big play right there for him. Steve Bright out of North Charleston, South Carolina with the Carolina Flash. That beautiful Barracuda going to be over here in the left-hand lane. There you see his daughter Taylor bringing him up to the line. Going to be facing
Evan Shaw.
Ben Shaw.
Ben Shaw.
Ben Shaw. That's exactly right. Ben Shaw driving the Odd Rod this year. Great looking lead for Steve Bright. Steve Bright getting a jump right there on Ben.
He welded him to the tree.
He sure did.
And there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Tom White. You know, buddy, he done great wonders with Cynthia Phillips when she was driving that car, kind of training, coaching her along the way. He's got a new driver now, Alexis Phillips, Cynthia's niece, and buddy, she got her hands full here today. David, I've got this thing launching from the start line. She she's struggling here a little bit. You see she's late in the state and she jumped the beam. Major rookie mistake. Now, here's the second rookie mistake. Slow motion. Coming up right here. Watch this, David. Watch those front wheels turn while that front end is in the air, and that is all it takes. However, she did do a pretty doggone good job of not making that worse.
Yeah, she could have made that awfully worse, and kudos to her, and that learning curve will be quick for her.
No doubt about it. You know, she's got a long time on motorcycles and motocross type of stuff. Very successful at that. She should slide right in.
Diana Casto going to be over in the right lane in that forward, the quick draw. Going to be taking on Tim Hall. This is a tough draw for her. The Scalded Dog out of Abbeville, South Carolina, there in the left lane.
And it's a lot of spin for him out on that, for Tim Hall. That's uncharacteristic. Diana Casto having a little bit of issues as well.
There you see our 2018 World Champion Larry Noel in the Crazy Horse, going to be over in the left lane. Rick Taylor in the Maverick be occupying the right lane. There you see Sandy Noel backing up Larry into his tracks and getting him ready for this first round matchup against Rick Taylor again. Good lead right there by Larry Noel. He was really on the line. The door coming open on him a little bit right there.
Smashing up and blow his own doors off, Dave.
May have been as we continue and move over to Summit Racing Equipment's sponsorship of B-Gas. And there he is, Todd Oden making his debut in B-Gas and putting it right to the top, our number one qualifier.
That he did, you know, and that is not surprising for Todd Oden. I don't call him King Kong for nothing. And I tell you what, a good, solid run.
You're right, a good run for Todd Oden as he has chosen that 57 wagon to be his B-Gas livery this year. And here's another one. ACP Headers, a new sponsor on the side for the Freebird, the Birch brothers. Joey and Jerry Birch, Jerry behind the wheel right here, and he's going to be taking on the Texas shooter, none other than Mr. Ronnie Sandhuff out of Corpus Christi, Texas. There you see his beautiful wife Jen bringing him back into the beans.
Founder of Sandhuff Racing Shop, but you know, there's Jerry going red. Ronnie advancing to the next round.
Very uncharacteristic in early rounds like that of the Freebird, and a long trip to be put on the trailer by his own fruition. Right now we got Danny Graham in that 41 Studebaker out of Houston, Texas, and Kelvin Cannon in the loose cannon. Looks like they're backing him up, and Danny Graham going to receive a competition single here.
Would have been a good run, David. You know, those two cars are pretty closely matched in competition. Now here we go, brother. We're getting into the old red Willies, Papa's Willies, Wild Willies, Michael Martin.
Michael Walters right there out of Rayford, North Carolina, and probably one of my favorite body styles that we see out here in the Southeast Gassers. You know,
no doubt, David, and thanks for that correction. But I tell you, I can't keep all these names straight. They submit these racers in the SEGA these days. It is amazing. Now, notice right here, what had happened, Art Copeland is not willing to accept a Michael double staging. And you can see those two bulbs on up there before Art and pre-stage. Now, the driver can either use that to his advantage or disadvantage. In this case, he's not willing to accept it. And so now Michael has been backed out twice. He's in a pre-stage. Art's going to come in, and Art's actually going to go in first, I believe. He does, and actually goes red. Working against him that time, David.
Yeah, a few head games working right there with those two KG veterans, and there you see the outcome of it. A couple of good-looking race cars, in my opinion, on the line right now. One of my favorites, that 51 Henry J, the Shake and Bacon, the Troy Lightner out of Liberty, South Carolina. And there you see the beautiful paint job on the side there for the Liberty, South Carolina native. He's going to run Dandridge, Tennessee racer Ray Fossil in the Busted Loose, that Barracuda over there in the left-hand side. And unable to hold it.
Troy Lightner, that's right. He couldn't hold that clutch down, David.
Sure couldn't. I don't know if he had an air gap problem or not, but Ray Fossil knew that he was going to be the winner right there, so he just took it easy down the racetrack. A new guy in the B-Gas this year, Ken Rainwater. That's right. He has purchased the Doug Dobbins car, and that is the car that you see over there. The Dobbins car, a multi-time winner and a world champion. And now he's turned it into the Renegade, and he's going to get Robbie Walden, a third-generation driver out of Atlanta, Georgia, in that 61 Bel Air right here in the left lane.
less than a genuine all-409. Rainwater getting the jump and pulling away, David.
Yeah, that car continues to make good laps, and we know we're going to see Robbie Walden making some more trips down the racetrack, as that was his first ever run in eliminations. There is the ever-popular Daniel Haynes and his wife Mary Beth out in front of his Falcon, bringing him back. That car they call the Patriot, going to be racing the Carolina Moon of Jason Roberts, hailing out of the Lexington, South Carolina area in the left lane. And, buddy, look at that doggone Patriot. Go, buddy.
Done that. I'm talking Holt job plus power down the racetrack.
All right, next up, there's that big comment of Bill Revels, the Black Betty, Bam Balam, as he calls it. Revels sitting behind the seat with a beautiful-looking helmet on.
Getting a little taste of that Florida traction down there, David. Kind of getting an idea of what the launch that car up against one tough hombre right here, my friend.
Charlie Lee making the move up to B-Gas this year from C-Gas. You know, he was our winner in C-Gas here at Holt, Florida in our finals of last year. And, buddy, he streaks away from Bill Revels right here, and he's trying to repeat moving up into the B-Gas category.
I love the name on the side of this one right here, David. Too fast to fly. I know exactly how he feels. You know, sometimes this thing just seems the older we get, the heavier we get, but look at 55 nonetheless.
Yeah, Chuck Radaball going to be taking on none other than Mike Blackwell right here in the Smokin' Sam. That's Smokin' Sam, our number 2 qualifier here today in B-Gas at Holt, Florida, starting out this 2021 season. Radaball got his hands full right there, as you see that Smokin' Sam streak away for a victory here in round number 1. All right, we're moving right into B-Gas. There's our 2020 world champion, TJ York. And Vince, you were able to catch up with him about some of the problems he was having in qualifying.
As they say, you're only as good as your last race, and in your case, you're only as good as your last championship. 2021 is a new year. Everything resets to zero. Any thoughts, any plans like you had in 2020?
Well, we want this championship again. We want to be the first one to repeat it, but we're struggling this weekend. I ain't gonna lie about it. We got a lot more horsepower, and we tried some tricks on some suspension stuff, and it ain't working real well. And we've broke 3 or 4 things, and we've got our Band-Aid up, and we're gonna see how it goes here.
Well, TJ, brother, as you know, going into this season 2021, being as the champion, you got that big target on you back. And in testing last night down here in Holt, Florida, I got to tell you, it didn't look so good.
No, this thing's it's a bucking Bronco right now, and we got some good power, but we got some suspension problems that we got to work out, and we broke a few things, but we got our Band-Aid up, and we're just going to see how the cards fall here and see what we can do.
Here's one other twist to this. Todd Oden, another past champion, that's one you can never take lightly. And as far as I know, first round, he was number 1 qualifier. I don't know where he wound up after round 2.
I know that. I mean, Todd coming over, that's going to be tough. We got a lot of Birch boys, a lot of these guys, Kobe, the young guys, Charlie Lee's over here. I mean, it's going to be a tough year, but if things don't go as well as we think, we'll be ready for Shady Side. I guarantee you that.
So the TJ York of old and new is actually the same guy.
It sure is. We ain't going to roll over and give this championship to him easily. I guarantee you that.
I would lose all respect for you if you did.
I know, sir. We respect you a lot.
All right, and there he is, the young man that he mentioned in his interview, Colby Welch, out of Warsaw, Illinois, the 18-year-old over there in that Ranchero. He gets in round number 1 because he didn't have a great qualifying. Colby Welch was like a number 4 qualifier. And it looks like TJ York got a little out of shape there. You see Tyler York and his wife cheering him on to round 1 win. All right, A-Gas brought to you by Summit Race Equipment. Round number 1, there's our number 1 qualifier, Ben Christopher in the Happy Days out of Boiling Springs, South Carolina. He's going to be matched up against Dean Jonas out of Mount Holly, North Carolina, in that beautiful Agent Orange. There you see a shot of Ben. He was our number 1 qualifier here today, and these two guys put on a show. Look at Christopher getting the wheels up in the air. Looks like he has to maybe pedal it a little bit to straighten that car out. Dean Jonas having a little problem with his car, has to back out of it. There's our 2020 championship car, and now that car is under the ownership of Rod Bergner and Steve Davis, our 2020 champion, stepping out of the car. And Mitch, I believe you caught a word with our 2020 champ.
It's just a few short months ago, brother, I pronounced you SEGA A-Gas World Champion for 2020, your mantra Spinny 2020. Everything was in place. The vision you had from the start of the year finally, cemented. It was done, finished, and over. 2021, I find you as a spectator. What happened, Steve?
Well, I don't know if I'm smart or just stupid. I don't know, but I'm actually enjoying this. I'm a spectator now. I actually sold my car to Rod Bergner, and I'm enjoying this right here. Honestly, this little ticket right there cost me $30. That's the cheapest I've ever been into a race. I love it, man. I love it. So,
and that's all forms of racing for all of your life. That's the cheapest you've ever entered a racetrack.
That is true. So, but we're enjoying this. My wife, my friends, my family, we all still coming out and watching it and having a blast.
Well, Steve, just briefly, buddy, take me back. You know, you had won championships in circle track racing.
Right.
And you obviously, I think it took you 3 or 4 years to reach your vision, your desire to win a drag racing championship. And, you know, looking back now, I'm not asking you which one was more important, but what I am asking you is what did it take to achieve any one or all of those championships?
Well, they say blood, sweat, and tears, and it's all that, but determination, good help, good friends, good family. Everything matters, and you don't give up. You just keep working, and finally you get where you need to be. You'll do what you're supposed to do. So we actually enjoyed that. It was stressful, you know as well as I do. I stressed a lot last year, and but it was worth it in the end. I was at the top. Only thing I could do was go down, and I don't want to do that. So walked out on my terms, and which was trying to go out as a winner, and that's what we did. And to respect these guys that I've walked around and talked to in here shows to me that it was a good thing. So
the next thing, advice, inspiration to the guys who are behind you. Let's take Gabriel Burrow, for example.
Yeah.
You know, boy, what a battle that was.
Yeah.
Advice, inspiration, Gabriel Burrow, what would you give him?
Well, you know, he's a hard charger. I tell you, he's probably the toughest one out here as far as work ethic. He's going to be tough to beat this year. I think he had a little trouble tonight, but keep on. Don't give up. Keep it going. He'll do good. We were trying to figure out in our little group, the top 3 or 4, his name right there is in that group. So he, you know, you got Kenneth, you got Leslie, you got Todd Blackwell, Alan sitting over there. I'm looking at Alan's car. There's some good competition, and we got a lot of people that's moved up. The guy that bought my car, Rod Bergner, he surprised me. He's carrying that little car down the road and straight as an arrow. So that means 2 things. First of all, we undoubtedly built a good car, and you know Rod is a good driver. Anybody that race on ice is crazy anyway. So he's doing pretty good. So we're gonna be pulling for them all. If they want some advice, I sure probably got something to tell them. So, but hey, I'm just here to help out or anything I can do and have a good time.
One final question. Had you not won the championship in 2020, would you be here this year?
Probably so. There you go. I don't know where I'm smarter or dumb, but I've probably been right back over here. So.
It is a sickness. It is a disease. Congratulations nonetheless, Steve. We was honored to have you. It was a pleasure to see you do your thing, and you done your thing well. We look forward to seeing you as a spectator and maybe as a test driver one day.
Yeah, you might do that. So thank you, Mitch. I appreciate y'all doing it.
All right, and there is the Rod Bergner. He's going to be taking on Rob Walden. So Rod Bergner and Rob Walden. Walden in that 33 Willis, beautiful race car over here in the left side, the strict line.
And as Steve said, Rod's been doing a great job in this car, although trigger happy in round number 1.
Yeah, can't tell how eager he is till that red light comes on. And there is our 2019 world champion, Kenneth Phillips, in that familiar 58 Corvette, the Silver Streak 2, here in the right-hand lane. He's going to be taking on Sammy Radabaugh, the brand new 17-year-old driver, and he gives him an education real quick in A-gas racing. Sonny Burr in the Avenger, that 37 Chevy, going to be in the right-hand lane out of Welford, South Carolina. And the aforementioned Leslie Horn in the Chick Magnet, that 55 Chevy, with that big Gene Fulton big block under the hood for him.
You know, it's great to see old Sonny racing with us, David. You know, he does it on a limited schedule, but, you know, he's just such a gentleman, such a scholar, a brother in Christ, you know, and that's what the Avenger is all about. That is God saying, vengeance is mine. Wheels up, but a red light for Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny knew he was having to cut it pretty thin against the Chick Magnet, and that was just too much today. Another guy moving up right here, the Oliver Springs, Tennessee Redditor, Todd Napier, the Atomic Hillbilly, moving from B-gas to A-gas. What do you think about that, man?
Listen to this car. Just right there. That cam hit on it. That is the coolest most sounding car of all of them out here. How does that translate in horsepower? I really can't say, but I can tell you better have a lot against Todd Blackwood because he's got a lot. Here we go, and the lights are getting on, spinning the tire he was, and Todd hooked and going.
Yep, that par race engine underneath the hood for Todd Blackwell streaks away. And there is the 58 Morris Minor moving back into A-gas after a 4-8 down into B-gas last year. Scott Butler, the pilot of the Little Varmint now, the 58 Morris Minor.
You know, David, I would be concerned racing this car in super stock when we talk about the speed difference. Not that super stock's easier, but I tell you, I wouldn't drive this thing in A-gas for love or money. Here we go. Gabriel Burrow after a massive clutch explosion, but he's looking good in round number 1. And there goes the Little Varmint. Exactly as I was saying, changing lane.
Yeah, changing
what
lanes
a tremendous
is true.
amount of carnage in that first round qualifying pass. So tremendous that you weren't able to make the second, but fortunately it lasted to the finish line and gave you a pretty decent qualifying spot. Certainly enough to put number 1. First round of eliminations is solid. Looking round to number 2.
Yeah, I don't even know who I've got next round. I'm going to look at the ladder sheet. Had pretty catastrophic failure with the parts back there, but I was glad everybody chipped in and we slung it back together with some spare parts and to see what the day holds. But Florida's a long drive to go home giving up, so we're going to try to put them all on the trailer and go home with a trophy.
Well, you know, it is a lot of damage that you normally would not see with a clutch explosion, such as block damage and a number of things. Brother, I tell you, anything inside the car, I mean, other than extreme vibration, did you know anything, see anything, any parts coming in on you?
There was a few parts that came in through the little small parts through the floorboard, and the explosion when I went through, when it blowed, I could see a flash and then I could see parts. I thought it was connecting rods. I figured it was more likely, but it wasn't. It was clutch parts. I could see them coming through the shifter hole as I looked down.
Well, the clutch much easier to fix than the rods, so good fortune in that right there. Gabriel, we'll look for you in round 2.
Thank you. We'll see you there.
All right, Gabriel Burrow letting us know what happened to him. Another guy moving up the categories right here. Rick Varner going from B-gas to A-gas. For Kannapolis, North Carolina, the dirt man in the left lane taking on Barry Lynn in the Little Red Wagon.
You know, David, a whole slew of these guys want some of that A-gas competition, and buddy, so far, every one of them that's moved in has gotten them a taste of what A-gas is all about.
Speaking of another taste, here is Sam Gable, a guy that's been in A-gas now for 2 or 3 years. He's going to come back and face a familiar car right here to the Southeast Gassers. That is none other than the boogeyman, Chris Dunn, out of Anderson, South Carolina. I want to welcome him back.
That it is, David. You know, Chris, he was out for a while, checking out some other ventures, venues, whatnot, but found his way back to Southeast Gassers. Right now, Sam putting some racing competition on him, but not enough. Chris gets to go to the next round.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes round number 1 of our video series of 2 here from Holt, Florida. And kicking off our 2021 season, be sure to tune in for the second part coming your way.